Hey everyone, my name is Justin Tolchinsky and I'm one of your directors of Monday meetings here.
And I'm Gabrielle Bedoya, and we are excited to have Grace Ha from Roger CPA today with us to talk with you all.
So before we get started, here are the announcements for the week. Join us tomorrow, Tuesday, April 20th from 5 to 6 p.m. for a meeting with Martini CPA for a presentation on new challenges in the accounting profession and how to overcome them. Thursday, the 22nd, we'll have the alumni panel where the accounting professionals will share insight on the profession, and you'll also get the chance to network with them. So I encourage you all to attend. If you're feeling exhausted about the second round of quizzes and midterms, we'll be having karaoke night and everyone is invited. We hope you'll join us to help get things off your chest and relax. Spring member apparel has been sent out for those who selected mail delivery. We will also have a pickup location from 11 to 2 p.m. this Saturday, the 24th at the Northridge Park near CSUN. The exact location has been shared in the GroupMe chat. Lastly, executive applications are open and due May 3rd at noon, and directorship applications are due May 15th at 11:59 p.m. If anyone has any questions or wants to chat, we will have a director info session next Monday from 12 to 1 and an exec info session right after 1. These roles really help develop leadership roles, so we highly encourage you to attend.
And without further ado, we have Grace from Roger CPA presenting on overcoming the CPA exam.
We encourage everyone to have their cameras on, and please wait until the end to ask questions with the raised hand feature on Zoom. So feel free to take it away.
Thank you, guys. Hi, everybody. My name is Grace Ha. I am delighted to be here with you guys today on behalf of UWorld Roger. I am posting my sign-in sheet right now, so if all of you could fill that out, it would be much appreciated. I am also looking for a campus ambassador, so if any of you are still still have another year left of school and you would like to earn a $3,000 review course for free, please make sure you fill out the form as well. I will be sending details regarding that. And without further ado, let me go. On today's agenda, we will be covering some CPA exam basics. We will also cover 2021 updates and changes, also the top challenges to passing the exam and how to overcome them. Now, before we do get started, I am curious who my audience is. So actually, if you could all write in the chat box what year of school you are in, and also if you are interested in getting the CPA license. So as you guys fill that out, I'm going to the next slide. So a little bit of background about us. Again, we are UWorld Roger, and as a company, we've had the privilege of helping over 2 million students prepare for high-stakes exams. But more importantly, in our CPA vertical, we have been able to reach a 91% pass rate, which is the highest compared to all competitors. And with our SmartPath technology, we are able to allow our users to pass three times faster. So now let me go ahead and see who my audience is and who I'm talking to. Okay, so I see we have some sophomores, some graduating seniors, some grad students. Okay. Let's see, what about the rest of you? I think there's about 8 people that responded. Okay, wonderful. We have a good mix of everyone. Sorry. Okay. So getting back to it, what even is the point of getting your CPA license? Many of you will find that you are able to graduate college and practice accounting without your CPA license. You are able to practice it for many years without an accounting license. But there's a lot of really great benefits that come with getting your CPA license. And to give you guys a real life example, I have a friend who worked at EY for 3 years. It took him 3 years to pass all 4 parts of his CPA exam. He passed them September 2020 during the pandemic, and he wanted to make that jump from public to private accounting. And he was worried because it was a pandemic, a lot of job shortage, but he still updated his resume, posted it onto LinkedIn. And the next morning when he woke up, he had 16 messages in his inbox. He was able to secure another position in private accounting and also got a $10,000 pay bump. So that's sort of what the CPA license can do for you. Not only will it give you that leverage in what sort of positions you want, but also leverage in asking for higher salaries. So moving on, it will bring you a lot of long-term and short-term job security, and you'll be seen as a trusted advisor. So if you think about it, any given day of the week, a client is going to want to work with someone with their license over someone without. Same exact thing for recruiters. 10 out of 10 times, they will hire that individual with their CPA license over someone who has a master's in accountancy and a 4.0 GPA. Because if you plan on working in a public accounting firm, it is mandatory that you get your license. So without it, it will be very hard for you to get promoted past senior, which in turn means you cannot become a manager, you cannot become a director, or move up that ladder within the accounting firm. So the CPA license is seen as the creme de la creme of its industry. And the reason why it's so hard to obtain the license is because the CPA exam is given in order to test the skills that first and second year new hires need in order to be successful in their day-to-day. So although all of the things you are all learning in school right now are going to create a really good foundational knowledge of all the things you know about CPA and accounting, it's not going to be enough for you to pass the CPA exam. So that is where a review course will come in and help you master the skill sets you need to pass the exam. Alrighty, but moving on, money. So how many of you guys do not like money? If you do not, let me know. I will send you my Venmo account. Feel free to send me all your money. But I bring this up because there was a study done and it shows that licensed CPAs make on average $1 million more during their career than non-licensed CPAs. So I want you all to imagine a huge pile of cash in the middle of the room. All you have to do to obtain that is pass 4 tests. So what a great trade-off for $1 million, right? But before you can get that extra 1 mil in your bank account at the end of your career, these are the 4 E's you have to obtain, which are education, exam, ethics, and experience. So right now you are all fulfilling your educational requirements. In the state of California, in order to sit for the CPA exam, you will need 3 things. 1, you will need a bachelor's degree. It does not have to be in accounting. It can be in any subject. Next, you will need 24 semester units in accounting and 24 semester units in business. So those are the 3 items you need to sit for the exam. For your licensure, for your license, you will need to get 20 additional units in accounting and 10 units in ethics. So I did see that some of you are going to get your master's in accountancy. If so, you do not need to worry about these next 2 slides. You will automatically be licensure eligible. But for those of you who are not getting your master's, the extra 20 units you need, it is mandatory that you take 6 units in accounting courses. The other 14 units you can take in business courses, or you can even take 9 units in courses related to accounting or business. Now keep in mind, if something counts for accounting, those units are not going to count for business. So there is not going to be any double dipping. If one thing counts for accounting, it's only accounting. If one thing counts for business, it will only count for business. Alrighty, you will also need to get 10 units of ethics studies. So it is mandatory that you take an ethics accounting class. This is mandatory for your license. The other 7 units you can take in courses related to ethics, or you can even take 1 course in philosophy, religion, or theology. Now, I did see that we have a couple of sophomores in the room. A good way to set yourself up for success is to take these extra units that you need during the summer. So don't just lay around on your bed all summer. Take advantage of the free time that you have and take these extra classes that you need for your licensure, because those of you who do not get these extra units while you are in your undergrad, that means you will have to take another year to get these units, or you will have to be getting these units while you are working a full-time job. It will make your life a lot easier if you use your summer to get some of these units out of the way. Another thing to note, many accounting firms, they don't require it, but they do prefer that you have the units for licensure. So again, set yourself up for success. Try to get these extra units while you can during the summer on your free time. Alrighty, moving on. The next E is exams. So you will apply online with the California Board of Accountancy. If it is your first time, it will be $100. And when are you ready to apply? That is when your final transcripts are out. So you're going to ask your university to send in your transcripts for you. You do not want to send them in directly. If they go through you, you will have to start the entire process over again. And 6 to 8 weeks is a pretty long time. So again, make sure you ask your university to send them into the board for you. Once the board approves of your transcripts, you will receive something called an ATT, or an authorization to test. This ATT will give you 90 days to choose which sections you would like to sit for and pay for them. Once you pay for the parts, you will get something called an NTS, or a notice to schedule. This NTS is going to be your ticket into the exam. As soon as you get it, I would recommend you print out a copy. Just leave it in your car for exam day. Now, this NTS, or notice to schedule, is only good for 9 months. So let's say you set a goal and said, hey, I want to pass all 4 parts in 9 months. That is a very realistic goal, but work gets in the way, life gets in the way, and you're only able to sit for 3 out of the 4 that you paid for. You will forfeit $225 to the board. So typically we do not recommend you pay for all 4 sections at one time because of this 9-month expiration date of the notice to schedule. So maybe pay for 2, pay the reapplication fee, and then pay for 2 more. You will be taking your exams at Prometric centers. You are able to schedule a virtual tour on their website, so you can definitely go ahead and check that out. Another tip I like to give, maybe do a test drive to Prometric Center before exam day, so you're not getting lost on the day of the exam. Also, of course, go earlier than your exam time come test day, so you can get there and just relax and prepare yourself for the actual exam. Okay, so on exam day, you will have to bring 3 items with you. 1, you have to bring that copy of your notice to schedule. And you will also have to bring 2 forms of government issued IDs. They must be issued by the government and also have some sort of photo identification. Also, the names on all 3 items do have to match. So if for some reason your last name is off or your initial is off, make sure you get that fixed before exam day. And one really weird rule that Prometric has specific to CPA exam candidates is that articles of clothing are prohibited from being removed during testing. What does this mean? This means if you sit down at your seat wearing a jacket, you get hot while you're taking the exam, you're actually not able to take your jacket off at your seat. You would have to sign out, go put it in your locker, get fingerprinted back in, and on exam day, you want every minute and second that you can get. So word of advice, don't wear a huge puffer jacket. Don't wear a huge leather jacket. Maybe wear lighter layers like a flannel, a thin jacket, a cardigan, whatever, but don't wear a huge bulky jacket. But do also take a jacket just in case, in the case that you are stuck next to the AC or it's really cold in that testing center. I had a colleague, Jason, who was stuck next to the AC vent. He didn't take a jacket and he failed that exam. So being comfortable when you're taking an exam is very important. Another tip we like to give students is do not drink coffee before the exam. I know coffee does wake you up, but it can make you jittery, and especially if it's for an exam, it can make you extra jittery. So just drink water, but also don't drink too much water because you don't have a lot of breaks in between, but we'll get to that in just a moment. Alrighty, so in terms of testing windows and availability, this is what it used to be like. This was the structure that it was. So with this structure, if I sat for FAR on January 1st and I failed it, I would have to wait till the entire quarter closes and even till the end of the blackout period. So I wouldn't be able to sit for FAR until April 1st with the old method. Now, they have gotten rid of that system. It is now continuous testing all across the US. So if you fail an exam, you can reschedule to take it within the next couple of weeks or even the next couple of days. So that definitely should help with that 18-month countdown. But I am curious to know if you all fully understand how the 18-month window works. So I'm going to ask you guys a question. So let's say I sit for FAR on July 1st. I get my score that I pass FAR on July 14th. Do you think my 18-month window starts counting down on the 1st or the 14th? So will it begin the day that I sat and took the exam or the day that I received my score? So the 1st or the 14th? Okay, Ashley and Nicole have said July 1st, and then Brianna has said 14th. So yes, it does start on the 1st. So what this means is that, thank you all for answering. What this means is that you have 18 months minus those 14 days to complete the other 3 sections of the CPA exam. And to give you all a bigger picture idea, I'm going to throw some numbers at you, so bear with me. Month 1, I take FAR, I pass it. Month 6, I take regulation, I pass it. Month 12, I take audit, I pass it. Month 18, I take BEC, but I fail. But month 19, I retake BEC and I pass. Although I have passed all 4 parts of the CPA exam, because the 18 months have expired for FAR, I have to retake FAR. So even though I pass it, I have to retake it because the 18 months have expired. So this means when you begin your process, you never want to set a goal for 18 months. You always want to give yourself some buffer room to account for any hiccups that there might be along the way. So typically when I am giving advising sessions, I do recommend 9 to 12 months, but never an 18-month study plan. Now moving on. So what is the CPA exam? These are some of the courses that you have taken or will be taken throughout your undergrad that correlate to the 4 parts of the CPA exam. Audit, full cycle of an audit, senior level audit class, FAR, intermediate 1, 2, government not-for-profit, BEC is cost managerial, financial management IT, and regulation is tax, ethics, and law. Each exam is going to be 4 hours long. You do not study for all 4 parts at one time, nor do you take all 4 exams in one day. With the CPA exam, you are going to study for a part, take a part, study for a part, and take a part. And we do get the question, what order should I take the exams in pretty often? And there is no set order. You can sit for them in any order that you would like to, but this is the order that we recommend. So the AICPA recommends about 400 hours of studying in total to be successful on the exam. For FAR, they recommend about 130 hours, audit and regulation about 100 hours each, BEC about 70 hours. FAR is often known as the monster. It covers the most amount of information. It is also the most time consuming. Hence, you want to get the most time consuming one out of the way first, because if you remember, the 18 months will start counting down after you've passed that first exam. Next, you want to sit for whatever you feel more confident in. So if you think you are really good at tax, take regulation next. If you're killing it in audit, go take audit next. BEC, save for last, just because it requires the least number of study hours. Now, for my graduating seniors, there are some changes coming down the pipeline. So July of this year, there will be some major changes to the audit and BEC section. So if you are a senior, you're going to start sitting for the exam as soon as you graduate. Go ahead and take FAR first, and then regulation next, and then audit and BEC. So historically, when there has been any change made to a part of an exam, the pass rate will drop, which means you never want to be on the front lines of taking a change exam. You always want to let other people be your guinea pigs. Let them go take the exam first, see how they do, let them test the waters for you, and then you go and take that change exam. So Again, if there is a change exam, don't take that exam right away. Let other people take it first, wait a couple of months and then take it. So again, for my graduating seniors, FAR, regulation, and then audit and BEC a couple of months later. Now, January 2024, there is said to be a CPA exam evolution. However, that is so far away, we really cannot say anything is set in stone. But for those sophomores in here, when it comes near to January 2024, I will make sure to help you realize what those changes are going to be. Alrighty, so what are they adding to the audit and BEC section? Basically, every couple of years, the AICPA will sit down and ask and survey accounting firms, professionals, etc., what skill sets actually are necessary for their first and second year new hires to have. And so through the 2019 practice analysis, which is that survey that they do, they realized data analytics and technology must be added into the exam. With data, it will be a lot of how is data extracted, what are trends in the data, what can companies do to make more money with the trends in that data. Technology will be a lot of AI, blockchain, etc. For those of you who are kind of freaking out about the changes, you don't need to worry about anything. All review courses will be fully prepared and equipped to help you combat any of these changes that will be coming down the pipeline. How many of you have heard of the CPA Exam Blueprints before? I guess not many of you. Basically, the CPA Exam Blueprints are the skeleton of the CPA exam. This is where you can go to see all of the different skill sets as well as all of the different tasks and topics that will be tested come exam day. Now, for any of you who have trouble sleeping at night, I highly recommend you open this up. This is an extensive 100-page document that looks just like this. If you open it up and you start reading it, I promise it will put you right to sleep, even if you're insomniac. But just so that you don't have to worry about going through this dreadful document, we've gone ahead and taken on that role for you. So twice a year, we will meet with the AICPA. We get these blueprints from them, and that is how we map out everything within our course. But moving on, these are the different types of questions: multiple choice, task-based simulation, and written communication. I will actually go into the course and show you all these different types of questions. In terms of exam structure, this is what it will look like. You will always have 5 testlets. You will always start off with multiple choice and end with task-based simulations. So on exam day, while you are within one testlet, you are able to jump around the questions as much as you need to. If there is a question you're debating between B and C for a multiple choice, don't waste your time on it, flag it, move on, and get back to it later. Because per multiple choice, you only have about a minute to a minute and 24 seconds. And when you're taking an exam, a minute can fly right by. So sometimes strategy there. But once I move on from testlet 1 to testlet 2, I will never be able to go back to testlet 1. So before moving on from any one testlet, you want to make sure you've completed all of the questions and also given yourself some time to review, because there are instances where someone will get to the end of testlet 5, they'll still have 30 minutes left on their time clock. That could have been 30 minutes they spent to review their answers in testlets 1 through 4. So something to keep in mind. Also, at the end of each testlet, they will tempt you and ask you if you want to take a break. I'm sure many of you will want to say yes and never go back into that testing room, but you have to be strong and wait till the end of testlet 3, where they have been nice enough to give you a free 15-minute break. So aside from the end of testlet 3, you do not get any breaks. That is the only time you will get that 15-minute break, which is why I said don't drink too much coffee, don't drink too much water, because you only get one break. Any break that you take outside of the end of testlet 3 will count towards your countdown clock, which you don't want. Alrighty. In terms of how the scores are weighted, it's 50-50. BEC will be a little bit different, where 15% will go to your short essay questions. Now, with the CPA exam, it's good to know that it is not a negatively scored exam. So that means You do not start off with 100 points and get them docked off for things you get incorrect. Rather, it will be a compilation of points for the things you get correct. So come exam day, if you don't know how to answer a question or you're having a brain fart and you're freaking out, just answer the question, take your best educated guess, because there is a chance that you will get that correct and get some partial or full credit. So if you don't know how to answer something, just take your best educated guess. In terms of exam structure and time strategies. So when we ask past candidates what the hardest thing on exam day was, oftentimes more than the content, they will say that time is really tricky. And keep in mind, although in real life, we are very much used to time moving forward, on exam day, it's going to be the opposite. It's going to go from 4 hours, 3:59, 3:58. And if this is something that you have not prepared for or practiced, it can take a really big toll on your score. So implementing some sort of time strategy will be crucial to your success come exam day. Also, you have to keep in mind, you have 4 whole hours for the exam. There is no one there to tell you to move on from any one section of the exam. You are going to be in control of those 4 hours. So again, it will be crucial you are implementing a sort of time structure. So we've gone ahead and created a basic structure for you. So using Testlet 1 as our example. Testlet 1, we have 33 multiple choice questions. We want to aim to be done within 45 minutes. So let's say on exam day, I've completed Testlet 1, but I'm only at the 30-minute mark. That means I probably want to spend 10 to 15 more minutes to review my answers, right? Because again, once I move on, I will not be able to go back. Vice versa, if I've completed Testlet 1, but I'm at the 1 hour mark, I have to pick up my pace in Testlet 2, so I have enough time to get to my task-based simulations in the later Testlets. Because if we look back at the score weighting, it's 50-50, right? We have 66 multiple choice that make up half of our score, while we only have 8 task-based simulations that make up the other half of our score. That means one TBS makes up a pretty big chunk of that score. So it is going to be very important you are allotting yourself enough time to get to these task-based simulations. So again, time strategy will be important. Now, breaking it down even further, on exam day, you will receive a whiteboard and a marker. As soon as you sit down, I recommend you write down the timestamps you should be done with each Testlet by. Because again, it's a countdown clock. It could be a little bit confusing to do the calculations while you're taking an exam. So just try to remember these numbers. So Testlet 1, you want to aim to be done when the clock reads 3:15. So I would probably just write T1, 3:15, T2, 2:30, and so on. Excuse me. Now for multiple choice questions, as I said earlier, you have about a minute to a minute and 24 seconds. This is why I said if you're debating between A or B, flag it, get back to it later so you can save that time. Task-based simulations, you have 15 to 25 minutes. Research questions, you have about 10 minutes. And your short essay questions, you will have about 15 minutes each. The next E you will have to obtain is ethics. So it is mandatory that you take an ethics exam for your license. Why it's called the ethics exam, we're not sure, because this is a take-home open book exam, so not very ethical, but it is 50 multiple choice questions and you must get a 90% to pass. Now, although this is a take-home open book exam, many people I know do not pass this on their first attempt because the open book that they give you is about 400 pages and they give you about 4 hours to complete this exam. So it kind of will be a pain in the ass, but the first time you get this exam, just put your all into it and try to get it over on your first attempt. You don't want to be using all 6 attempts. That will be 24 hours. So almost a waste of time. So once you get it, try your best, get it done and over with on that first try. The next and last E you will have to obtain is experience. So in the state of California, you will need 1 year or 2,000 hours of work experience under a licensed active CPA. So that is 2,000 hours. And these hours are something that you can fulfill before, during, or after you take your CPA exam. So again, to my sophomores, try to get as many accounting internships as you can, because an internship is honestly one of the best ways that you can secure yourself a full-time position once you graduate. If you do an internship, an accounting internship, and you perform pretty well, they like you, you are more than likely to get a full-time offer even before you graduate. So do as many internships as you can. Even for my juniors and seniors, try to do as many as you can. Even for my seniors who are graduating, try to get an internship in the summer after you graduate too, if you haven't been able to find that full-time position. So if you plan on going into audit or ever opening up your own firm down the line, it is mandatory that 500 of the 2,000 hours are signing off audits. That is not a total of 2,500 hours. It is 500 of the 2,000 hours. So now, moving on, that is pretty much all you need to get your CPA license and that extra $1 million. You need to pass all 4 parts of the exam within 18 months, get your 20 extra units in accounting, 10 units in ethics, pass your ethics exam within 2 years, and also fulfill your work experience. So now that I've covered the basics of the CPA exam and the CPA license, I do also want to bring up the 4 very real challenges to passing the CPA exam. So we went ahead and did a survey of past CPA exam candidates, and we asked them what were the hardest things about your process. And time after time, it was these 4 things. So I'm curious to know what you think might be your biggest hurdle or your biggest obstacle as you begin your CPA exam process. Do you think it will be the difficulty, the time, the procrastination, the expense? So go ahead and write that in the chat box, what you think might be your biggest hurdle. All 4. So some time, difficulty, all 4. What about the rest of you? What do you think will be your biggest obstacle? Procrastination. Alrighty, well, thank you all so much for sharing. So I saw a good mix of all of the choices, but with the difficulty of the exam, it is very well known that the CPA exam is difficult, right? And the national average definitely reflects that. It is a 48.5%. So what does this number mean? This means that out of every 10 students who go into sit, only 4 or 5 are coming out with passing scores on their first try. At UWorld Roger, we're able to bring our users to a 91% pass rate, which means out of every 10 of our users who go into sit, 9 or 10 are coming out with passing scores on the first try. And with the CPA exam, this is definitely something you want to aim to pass on your first attempt, because each time you fail a part, you can expect to pay an extra $200 in the exam fee, not to mention the $50 in the reapplication fee. Also the hours that you will spend re-preparing and re-studying for it, and also the 4 hours come exam day. Now, with most accounting firms, they will allow you to take all 4 parts of the CPA exam on company time. However, if it is your second time around, you are more than likely to have to use your PTO hours. And as someone who works full-time, in the US, you only get about 12 to 15 days of PTO. And let me tell you, 4 hours of PTO are very valuable. You do not want to be spending it taking a CPA exam. So as you begin your CPA exam process, set that goal to pass each part on the first try so you can save yourself time and money. But what are we as a review course provider going to do to help you combat the difficulty of the CPA exam? That will be through Roger's instruction and also our high quality questions. So in the past 2 years, we have actually been going in and revamping our questions. We have invested millions into the questions and the answer explanations that we provide for our users. So I will actually go into the course and show you what those sort of questions look like. But in terms of instructions, so you will be spending anywhere from 100 to 150 hours of watching lectures on the CPA exam. And let me tell you, it is not fun. It is very dry. It is very boring. So it will be important that you find an instructor that can actually keep you awake. So let me go ahead and show you guys who Roger is. He is our instructor for all 4 parts of the exam, which is something that differentiates us from the other providers. But you will just be able to feel his energy through his
appreciated stock doesn't mean something you appreciate, but it's gone up in value. Now, the limitation is about 50% of AGI, which stands for adjusted gross income. That means that we're going to take on the face of the front of your 1040 and basically say, how much is adjusted gross income? Let's say it's 100 grand. The most you can deduct is 50% of that. The rest you're going to carry forward. Now, when we talk about giving, I've got these cute nephews. I go, hey, give me 5, high 5, low 5, give me 5. You carry the rest forward for 5 years. Get it? That's cute. Now, the other thing that's changed for 2018, 19 through 2025 is you can deduct 60% for cash contributions. Used to be 50, went up to 60. I also mentioned just now about appreciated stock, up to 30% of your AGI, adjusted gross income. The other one is miscellaneous, other miscellaneous. COM is other miscellaneous. That would be, for example, like gambling. So I love going to Vegas. Come on, lucky 7. Ugh, I always lose, but I look around and it's so beautiful. Why are these casinos so beautiful? Because I'm a loser. I lost a lot of money, loser, 3D loser. Any way you look at it, you're still a loser. So that would be other miscellaneous.
Yeah, so there was Roger Phillips. Again, he is our lead instructor. And again, as I mentioned, it is pretty boring CPA exam content, but he does a really good job at making it as engaging and energetic as he can. So go ahead and check out our free trial. Moving on to time. So I did see many of you did choose this as an obstacle that you foresee. And with this, a lot of you will be preparing for the exam while you are working a full-time job. If you are in tax, you will have 2 busy seasons. If you're in audit, you will also have a busy season. And aside of that, you'll be working a 40+ hour work week. So it will be really important that you maximize that limited amount of study time that you have. So we will be able to help you combat that with our fully featured mobile app, our Smart Path, and our flashcards. But I will get to that in just a moment. Alrighty, moving on to procrastination. So how many of us are guilty of doing this? We should all raise our hands, right? Yeah. It's just in human nature that we tend to push back on things that we don't want to do, or that we are annoyed to do, or we're even scared to start. Like how many of us have procrastinated doing a homework assignment this semester, or doing the dishes, or going to get a car wash or a haircut? But with the CPA exam, this is definitely something a lot of people tend to push back on. And it is not something you want to do, because data shows that the age group after the bachelor's has a 13% lower chance of passing the exam than someone straight out of college. As a recent graduate, you have study habits in place. You know how to sit down, you know how to watch a lecture video and prepare for an exam, versus someone who has been 2-3 years out of college, probably is working a full-time job and forgot how to pick up a book. There is a reason why there are so many people at accounting firms who have not ever been able to pass their exams. It's because each year you are at that firm, you get more and more workload, which in turn means you have less and less time to prepare. And I just met with a recruiter last week, and they have someone who is in their 10th year and still has not been able to pass their exams because they just don't have the time to. And that's the only thing holding them back from being promoted. So with the CPA exam, start your process as soon as possible. Another thing, I know many of you are dying to graduate and start working, to start making money. A lot of firms, they will give you an offer letter to start like a month after you graduate. If possible, try to hold off maybe 3-4 months after you have graduated to start working. Use those 3 months to get at least one part of the CPA exam done, if possible, 2 parts of the CPA exam done before you start working full time. Because if you think about it, you will be in a transitionary period of your life. You will be going from being a full-time student to a full-time worker, which means you are studying maybe 10 to 20 hours per week, going to working Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. So it is a pretty transitionary period. And during that time, you do not want to be juggling a full-time job, studying for the CPA exam, and also getting extra units. So again, try to get 1 or 2 parts of the exam done before you start working full-time. Also, for my seniors who have not yet gotten an offer letter, use those months to pass some parts of the CPA exam and throw that on your resume that you've passed 2 parts of the exam. Reapply. I promise you will get more responses and more interview offers. Now, without further ado, let me go ahead and show you guys all of the different study tools that we have and the time-saving tools, and also the different types of questions. Alrighty, so the first thing that you want to do when you begin your CPA exam study process is to set yourself up with a study plan that is realistic to your life. If you are working a full-time job, it probably does not make sense that you use a 3-month study plan, more so probably a 9 to 12-month study plan. Any of my seniors who will be graduating, you have a couple months, use the 6 or 9-month study plan to get some parts done. But let me go ahead and show you what the 9-month study plan looks like. So this is what the study planner looks like. Are you able to see this Excel file? Okay, wonderful. So the point of the study planner, the reason why this is good is because you sort of know when to schedule your exams for. So it is pretty much just a syllabus. It will tell you what to get done for that day, and you just check it off as you go along. What a lot of people will do when they are working full-time, they will not really study that much during the week. They will study a lot on Saturday and Sunday. So this is customizable. You can make it an 8-month study plan, a 10-month study plan, whatever you please to do. Alrighty, so after you choose a study plan, you want to go ahead and start watching lecture videos and answering questions. So everything you do with studying for the CPA exam is going to be online.
Works a frame.
So there is the lecture video, you have the e-textbook on the right, and you are also able to take notes. And then after that, you want to go ahead and test yourself on the things that you have learned. But before that, I do want to show you guys SmartPath. So this is actually how we bring our users to a 91% pass rate. With SmartPath, we took the data from our old users who scored really well, and we noticed trends in their data. Those who were scoring well were hitting a target number of questions and a target score in each of their chapters. We went ahead and threw those targets onto our SmartPath. And this is going to be a personalized learning experience. So as you go into SmartPath and you start answering questions, it will gauge where your weaknesses are and where your strengths are. And what SmartPath, how exactly does this help you maximize your study time? So a lot of people think in order to pass the exam, they have to answer every question within the course. That is a very popular misconception. What's important is you're doing the right type of questions and also scoring well enough. So SmartPath will only feed you the questions you have to answer and also make sure you're scoring well enough to pass on exam day. Now, let's say you hit all your targets within FAR. You go and take the exam and you fail, we will give you your money back. So SmartPath is a really effective tool. It will help you build that confidence and also let you save your study time. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and create a test. So we did watch a lecture on basic concepts, but let's just choose a couple of different chapters too, so you can see the different types. So as you start answering questions within the course, you will notice two things. So as I mentioned earlier, we have been investing millions into these questions and these explanations. So you will notice we have really detailed explanations, and that is where you really will be able to learn a lot about the concept. If there is a visual that you like, you can click on it and add it to a flashcard. So you can personalize your own flashcards. On the bottom, there is also an area called things to remember. So that's going to be your key takeaways. So I'm going to add this to the back of my flashcard. And then even after you have read the explanation, you're still confused, you will be able to click into references that will take you back to that the lecture video and the e-textbook, so you don't have to toggle back and forth. And the second thing you'll notice is that whether you get a question correct or incorrect, we will always tell you why the choice you chose was correct or incorrect and why the others were incorrect. And that is really important that you are really reading and understanding it for exam day. Alrighty, so let me just breeze through these right here. And then I will go ahead and show you all the different types of task-based simulations. So once you submit a testlet, you will get automatic diagnostics. But again, the only thing you want to be checking is your SMART path to see how you are tracking towards your goals. Because again, once you hit those targets, you do not need to waste any more of your time within that testlet. Alrighty, so I'm actually going to show you guys an exam simulation. This is something that mimics the AICP exam almost identically. You will have the same 5 testlets. You will have that 4-hour time limit. So this is a great thing to do after you have hit your SMART path targets. And on our course, you have an unlimited number of these practice exams that you can take. So if you want to take 20, knock yourself out. But again, for multiple choice, if I'm debating between B and C, I will not waste any more of my time. I will flag it, get back to it later, because it will show up right there. I haven't finished that. But multiple choice is really straightforward. So I will just move on to the task-based simulation testlets. And again, after each testlet, they will tempt you and ask you if you want to take a break. You want to say no until the end of testlet. Alrighty, so right here, we have an example of a research task-based simulation. Here, you will be using authoritative literature. So if you click into these links, it will actually take you to a web browser that looks like this. And basically, you can click into these and it will sort of look like AUC or of the sort like that. Pretty much the answer is within these links that they gave you. So this is actually said to be one of the easiest task-based simulations. And this is another example of a research question. Let's see what testlet 4 gives us. Alrighty, so this is an example of a document review simulation. So here you'll be tested as a real-life accountant would be. You'll be given phone transcripts, legal documents, balance sheets, etc., which you will use and reference in order to fill in the blanks. And it will either be a fill in the blank or a multiple choice option. Now, although they gave me 5 exhibits, sometimes I do not use all 5. So you will have to use a little bit of critical thinking and analysis here. Here we just have an example of a basic task-based simulation. So we just have some fill in the blank and some multiple choice options here. A tip I like to give my students: toggle through the different questions on your task-based simulations, because one of them might be more time consuming than the other, and you want to allot enough time to each of them. Alrighty, and then lastly, testlet 5. This is supposed to have 3, but I think because I did so many of these, we're only given 1. Alrighty, and then the last item I would like to show you all are the flashcards. So there are the decks that you can create on your own. This was that deck that I created earlier. And then we have our expert decks. So these are some of the most highly tested words that show up come exam day. Browse is your typical method of doing flashcards. And then we have our study mode. So this is actually spaced repetition technology, which means, which is the idea of repeatedly seeing difficult concepts until they have been ingrained in your permanent memory. So that sounds a little bit confusing. So let me just show you. So if you look at the back of each word, you are going to have three options. Again, good and easy. Think of this as a physical deck of flashcards where you make an easy, medium, and hard pile. Easy words are words you pretty much understand. You don't need to waste too much time on. So on our course, if you click on easy, we will not show you that word for another 4 days. Medium pile are words you sort of understand, but you do need more practice until you've memorized it. If you click on good, we will not show you that word for another 10 minutes. And then lastly, difficult are words you do not understand at all. You need a lot more practice. If you click on again, we will show you that word within a minute. So this is another great way that you can maximize your study time even while doing flashcards. Alrighty, so last but not least, expense. So we know the CPA exam process is quite expensive. We know review courses are expensive, and we know that we are in a pandemic. So as a thank you for allowing me to speak to you guys on the CPA exam and also introduce you guys to our course, I am currently offering $1,600 off of our elite course. So price of $13.99. This is a great deal because our premier course, which is 18 months, is $18.99. So it's $500 cheaper than our 18-month course. Our Elite Unlimited has no expiration date, which means even after you pass the exam, you are able to log in and see all of the updated information. Anytime there is a change made to the exam, we update all of our lectures, questions, flashcards, everything in accordance to those changes. So once you buy an Elite, you will never need to buy another review course. And with the Elite, you will get our fully featured mobile app. So this is something you can download on iPhone, Android, tablet, download lecture videos, watch with no Wi-Fi or data, do flashcards, questions on there as well. With the Elite, you do get 4 physical textbooks as well. So along with the e-textbook, but we do know that $13.99 is still a lot of money, but you know, even in 10 years, $13.99 is going to be a lot of money. So this is sort of something that you have to see as an investment into yourself. This is something that will allow you to open a lot more doors in your career for you. And not to mention, you will be able to make that extra $1 million at the end of your career with your license. So we do have payment plans available through a third party called Affirm. You can check that out more on the website. But other than that, I will go ahead and open the floor for any questions. And if we don't have too many questions, we can go ahead and play the Kahoot game.
Feel free to use the raise hand function on Zoom.
Well, I guess we can play the Kahoot game then. Oh, and then I did want to just reshare the sign.
We do have a question. Taylin asked, how long is the code good for?
Yes, so the code will expire at the end of this month. So next Friday it will expire. But if you were not able to take advantage of the code and you are interested, reach out to me and I will see what I can do for you. So my email is gha@uworld.com. And then do keep in mind, many accounting firms will give you a bonus if you pass all 4 parts of the exam within 1 year of joining the firm. So for a firm like BPM, you get a $5,000 bonus if you pass all 4 parts within 1 year of joining the firm. So there's a lot of really good incentives to actually get your license.
There's also another question in the chat from Nicole. It says, I know you mentioned for each section on the exam, we have an allotted amount of time. If we finish that section early, the time doesn't transfer over to another section, correct?
Yeah, so Nicole, basically you will be given 4 hours to complete all the sections of the exam. So you will be in control of how you are allotting the time within those 4 hours. So time doesn't roll over, you just have that 4 hours, and then at the end you could still have 20 minutes left. And let me actually just go back to the structure. Oh, did I pass it? Okay. So this is what the structure looks like. And basically, this was just a basic time structure that we prepared for you. But if you don't look at that, you will just have the 4 hours and you will be spending it however you please. I hope that answers the question. Sorry if it was a little confusing. Any other questions, team? Alrighty, wonderful. Then let me go ahead and start the Kahoot game. Alrighty, so what you do is you go to kahoot.it and then enter the PIN 3805932. And typically when I play this, we do nicknames, so it's just more fun. Right, we'll just give it about another minute maybe. Maybe 30 more seconds and we'll go ahead and get started. Let's get started then. Artis, where is Roger CPA headquarters? This is just a curveball question I threw in there. Oh, and with Kahoot, the quicker you answer, the more points that you can get. Yes, we are in San Francisco. Alrighty. Which of the following majors will qualify you to sit for the CPA exam? Wow, yes. So yeah, does not have to be in accounting. It can be in any subject. Very good. Marie is in the lead right now. Where can I go to see an overview of the topics covered? But this is that dreadful 100-page document that can put you right to sleep. Alrighty, yes, so it is the CPA Exam Blueprints. Alrighty, Marie is still in the lead. Nico is catching up. Alrighty, how many days is my ATT or as valid for? So ATT will be valid for 90 days. You will have 90 days to choose which sections you would like to sit for and pay for them. All righty. How many months is my NTS or notice to schedule valid for? Nine months. So that means you have to sit for any exam that you paid for within that 9 months. Otherwise, you will forfeit the $225 to the board. Alrighty, Marie is killing it and still in the lead. Alrighty. What time-saving tools does UWorld Roger offer for their users? Wow, wonderful. Yes, all of the above. Alrighty. How many hours of work experience do you need to get? 2,000 hours. So close to 11 out of. Alrighty. How many forms of government issued IDs must I bring on exam day? Yes, 2 forms of ID, driver's licenses and passports are popular. Alrighty. What percentage pass rate does SmartPath bring for Roger users? 91%. Alrighty, Marie has been in the lead the entire game. Let's go. The 18-month cycle begins. My score. Kind of a trick, a play on words there. Yes, the 18-month cycle begins the day that you sat and took the exam. So that is false. Alrighty, almost second to last. It is not mandatory. Section first. Yes, this is true. Alrighty, and the last question is, how long does a Roger Elite course last? Wonderful. Yes, there is no expiration date. Alrighty, so in third, drum roll, we have MM, great job. In second, we have Abby, yay. And in first, we have Marie.